Hello, good afternoon. This is Ellen Benzine with ApplicantStack. I welcome all of you to Ask Me Anything hour this afternoon. It is right at the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and give those who are still signing in another minute or two, and we'll start in a couple minutes. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and get started. As mentioned, my name is Ellen Benzine. I'm an ApplicantStack account manager, and I welcome all of you to Ask Me Anything hour this afternoon. With me are Carol Kennedy and Brandon Peterson, both of whom are also ApplicantStack account managers. We're going to follow the same format as we have in the past for Ask Me Anything hour. We're going to talk and demo about a specific ApplicantStack function and then open it up for questions. So let's go ahead and get started. You should all be able to see my ApplicantStack Recruit homepage right now. And I'm going to go ahead and start here. The function we're discussing today is adding and editing attachments. So there's a variety of information I'm going to share with you. So let's go ahead once again and get started. I'm on my ApplicantStack Recruit homepage, and I am actually going to move over to the Jobs tab up top. And this is my Jobs table. We're going to work with the English teacher job here today. When I click on that job title, it brings me to the summary page for the English teacher opportunity. And I'm going to move from the summary tab over to the questions tab, as you can see. And you'll notice that the questionnaire or a questionnaire associated with this job is the application for employment. So again, that means that anybody who applies to the English teacher opportunity will be requested to complete the questionnaire entitled Application for Employment. But we want all applicants to provide additional documents. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Edit Attachments tab here that you see, and a template will come up. And the template is asking, what attachments are you looking for? And again, this functionality will require that any applicant applying for this opportunity, the English teacher job, will be requested to provide additional documentation. So the first attachment I'm going to request is going to be required. And because this is an English teacher opportunity, I'm going to ask for a lesson plan. And then the instructions would be, very simply, please provide a lesson plan for, let's say, middle school students. I want another attachment as well. I'm going to make it required. And again, because this is an English teacher opportunity, I'm going to ask for a writing sample. And again, the instructions to the applicant would be, please provide a writing sample. And of course, you can provide or request as much detail as you want to here in the instructions field. And then the last document or attachment I'm requesting. I'm not going to make it required because I'm going to ask for any certifications that might be appropriate for this opportunity. Did I? Nope, something's wrong there. Let's put an A back in there. Okay. So what you can see now is I've requested 3 attachments, 2 of which are requirements. So when I go ahead and click on the Submit button in the lower left-hand corner, you'll notice that not only is the application for employment part of the initial application process for the English teacher, but you'll also notice that attachments are requested as well. Let's go ahead and see what this is going to look like during the application process. I'm going to click on Preview here. And this is the application process associated with my demo account. So do know that application processes can be configured and modified for your own need. So your application process might be a bit different than what you're going to see here. But you'll notice the summary of the opportunity shows I've requested a resume as a requirement, and that's a system setting. Obviously, we need to collect contact information for all of your applicants. We've requested some other information as to how the applicants have found your jobs. The cover letter request is not a required field, and again, that's a system attachment, system-wide. And then you'll notice here's our requested information. The lesson plan is a required field or a required attachment, and your candidates can choose from their desktop for a file, or via Dropbox can upload, in this case, a lesson plan. And the same holds true with a writing sample. It's a required field. And again, candidates can upload that information. Certifications, if you recall, we didn't make required, and therefore there's no red asterisk nearby, or to the left of certifications, I should say. So this functionality can be used to request CNA certifications, RN numbers, any other documentation or attachments that make it that you can make as a requirement, so you can evaluate those candidates after the initial application process. Just to let you know, this initial application process continues in my demo account, just like you would see it in your accounts. So again, you have the opportunity to not only require attachments or documents, but you'll also notice that here's the text providing instructions. So this is how you would request attachments during your initial application process. But let me show you another opportunity for which to add attachments. And this can be done in a candidate record. It can also be done in a hire record in onboarding. So I'm still in ApplicantStack Recruit, and I'm going to move over to the Candidates tab up top. And you will see me here as a candidate. I've just been hired. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my name. And this is my candidate record. And since I've been hired, now my employer is requesting a picture of me for the company directory. If I look at the gray menu on the right, close to the bottom, you'll see an option that says Add Attachments. So if I click on that, I can browse and look for the file that is my picture. And when I click on Open, the file is uploaded. And you'll see under the Attachments section of my candidate record, not only is my resume there, but also my picture is now there. So again, if the individuals who manage the company directory want a picture of your employees, you can simply upload it this way within the candidate record. And the same thing holds true in onboarding. So if I click or if I trigger and move to onboarding, transition to onboarding, I can do the same thing here. This is my ApplicantStack onboarding homepage. If I move to the Hires tab up top, you'll notice I've been hired, I've moved to onboarding, I've transitioned. And once I access my onboarding hire record, I have the same option, the same functionality. From the gray menu on the right, if I click on Add Attachments, I can choose a file once again. I'm just going to add the same picture. And when I submit, my picture will be uploaded. And again, there it is within my onboarding hire record. So I think you can see the benefit of being able to request documents and attachments, not only during the initial application process, but also if you need to upload any sort of document within your candidate record and or your hire record. That is the overview of the functionality for today. And what we'd like to do now is open it up to any questions you might have. And your questions can be on anything ApplicantStack. Before doing that, however, let me just share with you that we do have another Ask Me Anything hour on February 9th, as well as Ask Me Anything hour scheduled through the first quarter of 2023. The Ask Me Anything hour on February 9th will be on our documents functionality. And that functionality allows you to create a document that includes merge codes for personalization, and you can create such things as offer letters using that functionality. So please sign up for the February 9th Ask Me Anything hour, and we'll now open it up to any questions that you might have on ApplicantStack Recruit and onboarding. So Carol and Brandon are going to help me, and we'll give it a minute. Please go ahead and input questions if you haven't already.
We do have our first question. If a candidate enters the wrong social security number when completing the conditional job offer and submits it, how can that be edited?
Okay, so that sounds like that is a Homestead question. Brandon, can you field that question?
Yeah, I'll try. My understanding is you can just go into the candidate record and update that. It allows you to edit entries that the candidate has put in. And so, Ellen, if you want to navigate to Recruit and the candidates, and just click on a candidate.
Yeah.
The social security number will show here, and you can just the record.
And I'm just going to add a little bit more. So this again is my candidate record, and you'll notice that when blue dots appear under information within a field, that means that information can be modified, as I say, on the fly. So if desired salary, let's just pretend it's like social security field, you could go in and you could modify that information and then submit the change. I will say though, and Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, that and again, this is for Homestead only accounts, that if you've already moved that candidate to the conditional job offer stage in ApplicantStack Recruit, that candidate has already probably gone over to ClearCare. So you might have to do something in ClearCare if that social security number has already been or has been modified in ApplicantStack Recruit. You might have to trigger that candidate to go to ClearCare again.
That's right, and I'm not sure if social security number is one of those items pushed to ClearCare WellSky, but you're very well.
Right. Okay. All right. I hope that answered that question.
Okay, next question we have is how to add a new company. I'm thinking that may be referring to child job board or maybe job field, Ellen, if you want to hop into those two.
Sure. So, a common theme, and I know I've mentioned this many times, is ApplicantStack is highly configurable. So what I'm going to do, and this is an administrator-only task. I'm up in the upper right-hand corner on my picture. I'm going to click, and an administrator only will see this option to set up the account. And if I navigate to the blue menu on the left and configure, one of the things that you'll see are job fields. So I'm not sure if this is what you're asking or not, but let's go ahead and discuss them. Job fields are information about your jobs themselves. So you can see the job fields here in my demo account, location, department, etc. I'm wondering if you mean department or another division that you want to include with your job on your jobs table or on your job board. You can always create a job field. I'm in the upper right-hand corner of my ApplicantStack screen and fill out the appropriate information. If you want it to show on your public-facing job board so that your candidates can see division or location or company, you would toggle this to yes. If you want it to show on your jobs table, yes is the default here, and you can simply save those changes. If I go back to my home page, open up my job board, and if the job board is public, or excuse me, the job field is made public, and you specify you want it to show on your job board, such as department, you have the ability to do that. So that might be a question you have. There is one other way to possibly do what you're asking. We have the ability to create what we call a child job board in a primary account. So this is again my ApplicantStack demo account. And let's say that I recruit for not only this account, but I also recruit for another sister organization. You have the ability, or we have the ability, to create, again, what we call a child job board. There is a fee for this because it's custom work, custom development work, but a very high-level overview is your ApplicantStack administrators and recruiters would then have the ability to launch jobs to both your primary account and your child job board account. There are some limitations that we can certainly share with you offline, but know that there are a couple of ways we think to answer the question you just posed us. And if you do have an additional question on this, please go ahead and submit a technical support ticket. And again, in order to do so, click on the white question mark in the upper right-hand corner, and from the drop-down, ask a question, and you'll see the technical support template come up, and it will be routed to the appropriate account manager.
Okay, we do have some discussion about that conditional job offer, whether or not it will allow you to edit that. So, Brandon, we might need to do some more scratching of heads around that and how to accomplish that. I think we have some other home instead questions. So, Brandon, maybe if you want to hop in here. When I send an email from the talent pool list, where can I see that?
I'm not sure so with talent pool list, that's not something we can answer on this call. It's a special customization for home instead that wouldn't apply to everybody. So I think, all right,
Brandon, will you get back? Yeah, will you get back with Sandy when we close down?
Yes.
Okay.
After hired, can you request attachments from a hired candidate or only during their application process?
Okay, so that is an onboarding question, I believe. Wait, after hired, can you request from a hired candidate? Okay. All right, now I'm wondering if that's recruit or onboarding.
Onboard, it could be either. I'm thinking you could either send an email and ask the candidate to respond with that attached, and it should come into their attachment section in recruit. In onboard, there's actually a few different ways to accomplish that. So you could either upload the attachment, you could email the candidate, hire at this point and ask them to respond, or you could create a file type task, assign that task, and they'll be prompted to upload an attachment that way. Ellen, I'm not sure if you want to show that, but there's a few different options, so it will be helpful to know if that's in Recruit or if that's in Onboard, so we can help get you in the right direction.
Yeah. Olivia, can you submit another question and let us know if you're referring to Recruit or Onboard, and then we'll be a little bit more specific with our answer. All right. So let's continue. What's next, Carol?
Okay, how can the old job postings be deleted to keep it clean and current job postings only?
I can answer that.
Okay. All right.
All right, Ellen, if you would navigate to the Jobs tab.
Of course.
So I always recommend not to delete hardly anything. There are some circumstances where you may want to delete something, but particularly for jobs, it's best to archive them or inactivate them or close them. So you would navigate to just go to the job that you want to, quote, delete, and click on the edit icon. And then edit the job.
Am I following you, Brandon?
Edit the job, that's right.
Edit job, okay.
Okay, and then you scroll down and you'll see us. Keep going. All right, so you see the stage where it says open. And that's where you can cancel, put it on hold, or close it.
Right. So just to expand on what Brandon's saying, this particular job, my consultant opportunity, is open. And if you've got candidates in a job, and if your job does have some history associated with it, you probably don't want to delete it, just for potential audit purposes. So as Brandon was suggesting, the best thing to do would be to change the stage of that job to something that's more appropriate. And the stages, again, as Brandon mentioned in this case, could be closed if you actually hired a candidate, canceled if the job is no longer needed, or obviously put on hold. Now, that job, and if that job has candidates within the job, will stay, the information will absolutely stay in ApplicantStack. You can then just expand your filters or use your filters to find it if you ever need to. So you can see expand filters in white in the orange button, and then you have the ability to filter particular jobs. And in this case, you could filter on any jobs that are filled, canceled, or put on hold. You can see my other stages as well. So you can mix and match these filters to find the jobs for which you're looking.
Yeah, thank you, Ellen, for that additional information.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have follow-up from Olivia. When recruiting, you could make the resume required, but what if after hiring you need more information? Do you have to manually add it after receiving it, or is there a way to request it so it auto inputs?
So I can take a stab at that one also. So you can always manually send a candidate questionnaire or request to upload a document. So if you're talking about some kind of upload that wasn't completed earlier, then you would use a questionnaire that has been built to do an upload. So Ellen, if you could navigate to library and questionnaires.
I'm there.
Okay. Unfortunately, my screen isn't updating, but so library questionnaire, then create a new questionnaire.
Uh-huh.
There we go. Title it, and then you select file as the questionnaire type. And then in your text, you would just describe what kind of file that you're needing them to upload, whether it's a driver's license or an insurance card or some kind of certification of some kind. And then you apply it. and you'll want to give it a name to save it. Okay, great. And then you would then navigate to the candidate who you need to upload that file. So candidate app. And you can, at that point, you can email a candidate and attach that questionnaire to the email. So we go to candidate, fill out the email, and then at the bottom, you'll see a field for questionnaire to attach. And whatever their response is, whatever they upload, would then become part of their candidate record.
All right, Livia, I hope we clarified that, or Brandon clarified that for you.
Okay. Brandon, we do have an additional question from Sharon about the conditional job offer. Can you jot that down for future follow-up?
Yeah, I have her name written down to follow up with her.
Fantastic. Okay, next question. Once a candidate has been hired, we select, this is referring back to our previous question, Ellen. Once a candidate has been hired, we select hired, and the system asks to select new company, or it will display companies already created prior to moving over to onboarding. I'm thinking that is when you change somebody to hired, it asks for the hiring manager and the workflow. I'm not sure about a company
New
name
company.
in that case.
Unless it's an application field, Carol? Would that be? Okay, here I am, and I'm in the hired stage right now. I'm just going to modify that very quickly, and let's talk about the pop-up that comes up. Bear with me just 1 minute, please. We're just going to put me back into the new stage. Okay, so now I'm going to try to recreate the scenario that you're describing. I'm going to go ahead and, again, set the stage to the hired stage. And as with any type of stage change, you have the ability to modify your pop-ups. So in my particular demo account, this is the pop-up that has been configured. So you can add messages, and in this case, if you've got multiple onboarding workflows, you can specify which workflow you want, and you can also specify this new hires manager in onboarding. What I'm wondering, Carol and Brandon, is if there's an application field, could that be included in a pop-up, and is that what the question might be surrounding?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's been some custom configuration that's been done there. I'm not. That may be an offline question. We may need to look at that a little bit closer.
Yeah. Okay, so that was. I'm just wondering who posed that question.
Right. Apologies if I say this incorrectly. Medea?
Okay.
Skinner?
All right. Let's make a note of that. All right.
Maddie, if you could type in the comments what company you're with, and if you're with Home Instead, which franchise, please.
I'm actually thinking this is a non-Home Instead account.
I would guess that too, with the nature of the question.
Okay, let's go ahead. We'll hop over to the next question. When an applicant sends an email, how can I add my name to the notification list? And I'm just looking to see where that question. Okay, that would be a non-Home Instead account. Okay, so when an applicant sends an email, I believe they're asking if a notification can be sent that that email was received.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, do you know of a way to get a notification? I know that it goes into their history.
Okay, so I'm thinking this through. The email stream would have to be within ApplicantStack, obviously. And then the user profile would have to have notifications turned on. So let's take a peek, and I'm going to go to Manage Users here. Again, I'm signed in as an administrator, so anybody, well, your accounts might be a little bit different. But in looking at my administrator record, there is a field for notifications to toggle them on and off. I think the question still becomes is, do you get a notification for emails that come through, right, from candidates?
Right, I'm wondering if something on the emails tab, maybe? I'm not aware of a way to get a notification when an email comes in. You can at a stage change, you can get a notification.
Well,
Right.
Who would the applicant be emailing? I'm not sure I understand this scenario.
Probably a response to an email that was initiated from an ApplicantStack user. I'm in the history tab of my candidate record, and you can see all history that's been tracked automatically. You can see that emails have gone out. So if there is a response that comes in from a candidate, certainly you'd be able to see it in the history tab. But let me make a little note, and I'll test out whether or not ApplicantStack users can get notifications when emails are responded to, right? But first and foremost, please make sure your notifications are turned on in your user profile.
Okay, we do have a comment. There is no notification. You will have to go in. So that's kind of, I think, playing along with what we're coming up with a little bit here.
All right.
So thank you for providing that feedback. Next question, can a spell check feature be added to emails? If yes, how can that be turned on?
That would be a operating system or a web browser type feature. So most web browsers have a built-in spell check when you're typing in text. And as far as how to turn that on, it would be very specific to your setup, what operating system you're using, whether it's Windows or Mac OS or Linux, or what browser as well. I'm not sure we can answer that, but that would be my suggestion, is to use a spell checker. And if your setup doesn't have that, you could always look in the Google Chrome plugin store for a spell checker so you could add that feature, but it's not built into ApplicantStack.
Okay, we do have a request.
Brandon.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yes, thank you, Brandon. We do have a request for a copy of the recording. So, Lauren, if you are still with us, if you could maybe send that out after the presentation today. We do have a request for a recording.
Yep, this is Lauren. I'll send out a recording to everyone after this meeting, so keep an eye out for that.
Amazing. Thank you, Lauren. What is the best way to handle duplicates? Same candidate, same job, different bucket.
So duplicates, yeah, there'll be a record for each time a candidate applies for a different position. Although there is a modification you can make to your account or our technical support team, and that is that your account can be configured so it does not allow the same candidate to apply for the same job with the same email address. That's the default. However, if you want candidates to be able to apply to the same job and they're using the same email address, our technical support team can modify your account. So I'm not sure. Do you have anything to add to that, Carol or Brandon?
Yeah, I was just going to hop in and say, if there is a note you need to put in there, you can jot a note down and make it universal. So let's say candidates apply to a lot of jobs, you're just not interested, you can put in a global note that says, not interested in this candidate. And the system will alert you. So you see that red warning, 3 duplicates, you can hover over that and see what other jobs they've applied to as well. So that might be how I might recommend, you know, you can see what other jobs they've applied to, put a note in there. Yep, under add note, Ellen, and then make that global. And that will be in the candidate's history. So you can track that information, or maybe they've already interviewed for this job, they're in process, please don't interfere with that. If another recruiter has them for another job and you don't want them considering that candidate for another role, maybe put a global note in there, kind of as a hands-off.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Carol. Yeah.
I would also add that you can also, to manage duplicates, you can also require that candidates create a login in order to apply. Now you have to weigh that, the risk of creating a barrier to them completing their application. If you're hiring for a job that requires a lot of volume of candidates, you might not do that. But you can create a login requirement, so you have to create username and password. And then once they have that account up and running, then the candidate can manage the different jobs that they're applying for, and it won't create duplicates within the same job.
Okay. Next question, is it best to move a candidate stage before each stage or after? For example, perform interview when they have a scheduled time or after interview is completed? You may be able to create a stage interview scheduled and interview completed. That may be one way to handle that. For me, I would probably lean towards changing the stage after the action happens, unless you need something to be triggered at that stage change. So if you have an interview stage, it can trigger an interview comment sheet. You would probably want that to go out before the interview. So I'm thinking it may just depend on your process. Do you have anything triggered at stage changes? Do you want that to trigger any additional actions in the system before something happens? Maybe you want to split that into 2 stages. Those are kind of where I'm heading with that. Ellen or Brandon, anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's very nuanced and very specific to the way you want to set up your process. That's one of the things about ApplicantStack. I've seen it go both ways. I've seen simply an interview stage, for example, and when they're in the interview stage, the office or the recruiting manager is waiting for them to come in for the interview, and then they move them out of the interview stage when or if it's completed. I've also seen, like Carol mentioned, it split up. So you create a interview pending stage or an interview invite stage, and then you have an interview scheduled stage. So it's impossible to answer that. It just depends on how you want to do it.
Yep, the system is highly configurable. So if you need some assistance with that, just let us know. Okay, when scheduling events, how do you update the status of the events? I'm not sure you can update the event itself, but you could certainly use your stages to indicate what's happened. So if you schedule an event to your team, perhaps to review a job, once that has happened, you could change your job stage to job review meeting happened, something of that sort. Ellen, can you think of anything about how to change the status of an event? It will remain on your home page until it's completed. What if we go to the events tab? Is there a way under events to edit that?
Uh-oh.
Go back.
Let's see if I have it. Yeah.
Try, you've got the upcoming filter turned on. Try.
Oh, right. Yeah. Thanks, Carol. There we go. I was like, I know there are events in here.
Is there, under actions, is there any way to mark those complete or?
So I do see the status field, which says schedule. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Can you edit that?
I think we're going to have to take, oh, let's see something here. Yeah. Well.
Try just clicking the edit button on one of those events, Ellen.
Sure.
I don't see a way to edit it. If it's been scheduled and the applicant has confirmed it, I don't see a way to change that.
Okay, we do have a follow-up from Olivia related to the same question, I believe. You can sort by status, but I can only see that they are scheduled.
Yeah, so let's take this one offline as well. Obviously, we're scratching our heads on this one, Olivia, and our customers keep us fresh. So we'll take this one offline, and we'll get back in touch with you. Good question. Thank you.
Well, and I think the nature of her question, there's only two statuses, right? Scheduled and not scheduled or pending. So maybe she's asking if there's a way to unschedule it after it's been scheduled, but sorry, we'll take it offline.
Okay.
Okay, we do have a question.
All right.
I'm a first-time user, and all of this is new. How do I get started to put info on ApplicantStack? I guess we need some clarification on what you mean by put info in. So I'm imagining you've got a user profile created in the system. Maybe you're asking about creating jobs. Let us know real quick. If you're a new user, I would go ahead and encourage you. We have those webinars that Ellen had mentioned. One a month, one to go over the recruit system, one to go over the onboard system. That's going to be a great place for you to start. We've got some getting started guides as well that we can send you, some Vimeo videos, how to post a job, how to work with candidates, and so forth. So I think that's going to be lots of resources for you. But if you could just clarify real quick what you mean by that question, we'll try to help you out.
And if you are an ApplicantStack administrator, I'm just going to retrace the steps that I just took. I clicked on the white question mark in the upper right-hand corner, and if I click on Help Center, you can input the functionality for which you're looking for or more information for. However, if you are an administrator, there's a great administrator setup guide here, and if I click on the link, it provides you step-by-step instructions on how to set up your account, create and launch jobs, and a variety of other functionality. These are all live links that will take you to more detail regarding each one of these functions within ApplicantStack.
Okay, yeah, and clarification on that question, finding the information to begin. So I would go ahead and in that Help Center, if you type in Getting Started, there are some getting started guides there. There's some videos. There are some walkthroughs with screenshots. So that's really going to help you get started. Okay, and I see Ellen is pulling those up. So you can see we have both recruit and onboard. We've got videos, we've got articles with screenshots and so forth. Okay.
Alrighty.
Looks like, Ellen, I'm going to send you over to onboard. When sending out emails on the onboarding side, selecting the templates, however, most of them once sent are showing up with the text in the body of the mail with no space between words. How can this be fixed? They're having to retype emails, send them, and then review just to see what's going to happen as the test. I'm thinking that might need to go to support.
Me too. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah, there are some tools in there where you can do formatting to your email. But if something is not coming across correctly, I would really recommend contacting our support team so they can take a look. Okay, it's possible. I've heard in the past, if something strange is happening, you may want to copy paste into something like Notepad that was going to strip out kind of some of that formatting and then copy paste it back into ApplicantStack. I'm not sure if that's going to help you or not, but that is one piece of information I can share. Okay, going back to
Carol. Yep.
Oh, sorry, going back to recruit, back to the duplicate question. They are moving from one bucket to another. So that's another way to handle it. Maybe you have a job for duplicate candidates, something of that sort, future interest, consider for a different role, something of that sort. So that would be another way to manage duplicate candidates, is with different stages or job buckets to place them into. Okay, how do I tell when something is triggered? For example, the reference checks, not quite sure what stage that is triggered.
I can take that one. Okay, so Ellen, if you would navigate to the workflow, the application workflow, please.
Of course. And again, this is an administrator-only function that we're talking about.
So those triggers are set up inside the application workflow. So if you wanted to drill into what that workflow looked like, what kind of triggers were set up, what kind of messages were set to go out stages, and even what notifications go out those stage changes, you would navigate to the application workflow, and then you would just expand the stages and look for wherever you have the background check questionnaire attached. And when that is completed, then there is a setting that can be set to have the candidate automatically move to the next stage, or you may want to have one of your hiring managers review the form or questionnaire prior to actually submitting that background check.
All right,
Okay.
what's next, Carol?
All right, next on the home page, since you're there, where our jobs are listed with different statuses, with numbers for each, that pipeline summary. Why are some of the numbers red and the rest are blue? I'm not sure I know the answer to that. I don't think I've ever seen red.
Does it have anything to do with multiple workflows and stages that might be in one workflow but not another?
You know, I'm going to hop into that account and take a quick peek. I don't know if I'll be able to answer that or not, but let me go into your account. Brandon, do you want to take the next question while I do that? Yep, you're right, Ellen. I'm hovering over that red and I'm getting a message, the do not pursue stage is not included in the application workflow for this job, but there are applicants currently in this stage. So I believe that's a workflow.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got multiple workflows in your account, and the advantage of multiple workflows is that different types of hire might go through different stages of your recruiting process. So a high-level hire might have 2 personal interviews, maybe an entry-level position 1. So it has to do with your multiple workflows, and on that one, I would suggest also submitting a ticket to see how that could be clarified, or I guess resolved is the better word. So if you could go ahead and submit a technical support ticket, somebody from that team will assist you as well.
Okay, we do have some thank yous coming through, so just wanted to pass those along. We do have a request for information regarding events. So I'm imagining there's probably a KB article about events if you need some more information there, or we can follow up with you afterwards.
Let's go ahead and just click on the white question mark, Help Center, and just to show you, if you just put events in the search bar, videos and articles will come up surrounding events. And again, if you have any sort of specific or detailed questions, please feel free to submit a technical support ticket, and either a member of our technical support team will respond directly to you, or it will be routed to the appropriate account manager.
Okay, often I create inquiries in ApplicantStack for those Indeed inquiries so that I can send them emails, then I request that they complete an application. On our webpage, sometimes the applicants have difficulty filling out an application, and we have to ask them to pick another application. I'm wondering what kind of difficulty. So is there...
I believe this is a home instead account because of the terminology inquiries. Shannon,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Sharon, I'm...
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Brandon, do you mind taking this offline with Sharon?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I also saw that we skipped over one earlier at 12:22. Olivia asked about wanting to ask additional questions that people may not have included in their resume. So the question is, when recruiting, you could make the resume required, but what if after hiring you need more information? Do you have to manually add it after receiving it, or is the way to request it so it auto inputs? So as far as auto inputs, ApplicantStack does not have any kind of artificial intelligence that reads the application and puts it in the fields that you've asked for. But you can follow up somewhere in your workflow, have a questionnaire that asks those additional questions that you want the candidate to answer. And you can do that at any stage. You can either attach it to the application up front, or you can have it go out attached to a message, say in preparation for the interview or in preparation for the background check, etc. Hope that helps.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
All right. It looks like the questions have slowed down a bit. Did we miss any other ones, Carol and Brandon?
Yeah, I don't believe so.
All right. Well, it is getting close to the top of the hour. Just another plug, if you all will bear with me, for our future scheduled Ask Me Anythings. We are certainly hoping that these are beneficial for you all. We are conducting an ApplicantStack onboard product webinar on February 14th. and the link in the announcement section on your home pages will be updated shortly to reflect that. So feel free to sign up for the next onboarding webinar as well as Ask Me Anything hours. We certainly appreciate all of you with us today. Again, thank you for keeping your ApplicantStack account managers fresh, and we will get back in touch with those of you who we said we would. All right, have a great afternoon. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.